countdown video, and I hope that everyone is well. Hope everyone enjoyed this epic version of WWE Raw, and to be honest, that is what has seemingly annoyed people about this show. I think this episode is good. I don't think it lives up to the epic billing. Word was doing the rounds earlier today that Triple H said that this was going to be an epic show. It was going to be an epic episode. I don't think we can say this was epic, but we definitely did get some really good matches, some really good storyline progression, and this was not a chore to watch, right? So let's kind of work our way through the episode and see what we actually got. So Wade Barrett and Joe were in the crowds. We kind of started off with a bit of kind of energy, which was nice. Normally they just stay like seated at the commentary desk or maybe even stand by the ring. But here they actually went into the crowds. And I've got to give a shout out to what I think is one of the best signs that I have seen in 2025. Maybe kind of post-pandemic, actually. This sign of Iyo with the two hands, like the fingers, so good. Doing the emote, so good. Really impressed with that. And we would see another variation of that later in the show. We would also get a new render for Dragon Lee. If you saw the latest episode of Unseen, you'll know that Dragon Lee had a bit of an unfortunate render. And actually, he was making fun of that. That was the image that they used. Dragon Lee, just before Raw, was even laughing at it himself. Thankfully, we did not use that render on the show. So, Larry, thank you. Okay, Solo Sikoa was walking backstage and he walked past that Jacob Fatu image, gave it a little look and kind of waved it off and made his way into the arena. He was going to be taking on Gunther in the semi-final of the Last Time Is Now tournament. We had both of those matches. Someone else that arrived was Liv. She would go over and she would shake hands, give a hug to JD, to Raquel. She would just give a little nod to Roxanne. There seemed to be tension there. And there was a real moment as well between her and Finn Balor. She's had some issues with Finn in the past. And yeah, it seems like those issues have not been forgotten. So all eyes on Judgment Day as we tuned into this episode of Raw. Right, we started off with Rhea and Iyo. So Rhea and Iyo were opening the show. They said they wanted to get opportunities at the Tag Team Championships. They would be interrupted by Alexa and Charlotte, and the main event match would be made. So our main event tonight was going to be Rhea and Iyo against Alexa and Charlotte. Backstage, we had Ivy Nile. She said she wants the first shot at Maxxine Dupri's women's Intercontinental Championship. So they're queuing up now to get their hands on Maxxine Dupri. There was no sign, you know, of Becky on this show. Becky did say that she was going to stay away unless she got her belt back. She got an apology, right? And she was not shown. I don't remember seeing Becky at any point on this episode. So it seems like she's still going to be waiting for those things. She wants her belt back. She wants Jessica Carr suspended. And she wants a full apology. She might be waiting a while for that. Someone that's got to wait a little while is Bron Breakker. I am surprised at when they've done this title match. Bron Breakker against CM Punk is going to happen for the title, but not until early January, which I'm really surprised they're making us wait that long. I thought we would get to that a lot quicker, to be honest. So they went in to have a meeting, and of course we would find out later, early January. I think it's like January 5th. That's when we're going to get Bron Breakker versus CM Punk. We went over to our first match. This was Jey against LA Knight. There was a burning hammer. That was a really nice spot. There's LA Knight. Boom. With the burning hammer. Really, really good. And LA Knight, I don't know if this was a bit of a shock or not, but LA Knight would get the pin, get the victory, and then I think one of the big talking points coming out of this show, Jey Uso loses it. It's not a heel turn. It's frustration at this point. This is him just really angry at the fact that he was on the losing side at War Games. He obviously lost recently to CM Punk when he had an opportunity to get back that World Heavyweight Championship. Now he's out of the Last Time Is Now tournament, so he will not be the final opponent for John Cena. So Jey Uso freaking out. I think this is interesting. I think this is the kind of thing we need to be doing with Jey. I think that Jey is seen as a bit of a joke at times, to be honest. A lot of criticism for him running it back at Survivor Series. And yeah, for him to keep falling short, like, he should be getting frustrated. So I actually thought this crash out was like a really good moment for him. So you lot said that match was great 54. You actually really enjoyed it. So yeah, I thought it was a pretty decent match. Backstage, Bayley and Lyra are looking to try and get into the tag team championship picture. Kabuki Warriors would arrive and Asuka would actually blame Bayley for the loss at Survivor Series. She's like, if you had joined us, we would have won. So Asuka was going off on Bayley for not being part of their Survivor Series team. And then we got our Kyrie moment. It was just a little jump this time. That's all it was. It was just a little jump this time. Little jump and a little smile there by Kyrie. So, yeah. Smile on her face. Normally she's like really dramatic with it, but not so much this time around. Right, there is John Cena's side plate as it was time for a Judgment Day segment. So we had a John Cena side plate still on the Intercontinental Championship. And down would come Liv Morgan. Now, I really was looking at this segment, waiting for something really big to go down. Kind of waiting for maybe Liv to go off on Roxanne, Liv to go off on Finn, Finn to go off on Dominic. You know, Liv would come in and say that she's heard the Judgment Day is weak now. And it really felt like someone was going to do something, say something. Nothing happens. Nothing happened. There was a moment where she slaps Dom and everyone's like, oh, what's going on? And then she just immediately gives him a big hug. So, yeah, there was nothing. Like, I actually felt like this segment was interesting because it's good to see all of the Judgment Day in the ring rather than just in the clubhouse. But it didn't give us anything other than harmony, which is not what I was expecting. I was not expecting harmony to come out of this. Right, next up we had this, and this was a frustration for me. I really struggle with this. I think that Maxxine being Intercontinental Champion is something that I just don't like. I'm not a fan of it, right? We barely have seen Maxxine, and I know that she puts the work in. We hear about it, but we have not been shown it, right? They haven't been showing us Maxxine training like in recent weeks and months. In fact, I don't even think we've seen any of it this year, right? It's just something that you hear about, that she goes and does NXT live events and works with Natalya. To me, this is the kind of video package that you should do as you get Maxxine ready to take on Becky, right? This is the kind of stuff you do as you build to a title match. Doing it after she's already won the belt, to me, is too late. You've missed the boat. I already don't like the fact you put the belt on this girl, and now this just feels like propaganda. Like you're just trying to justify why you did it. So this is not for me. I mean, I thought the video was shot very well, but for me, you've just got this completely the wrong way round. I just want someone that I feel is more credible as the champ. And you trying to convince me that Maxxine is credible after already putting the belt on her is not it, right? One thing that was good that came out of it, though, is it did feel like the main roster introduction of Natty. It did feel like Natalya has now become Natty, and that we are now starting to present this more ruthless version. The concern I've got, right, and I'm going to be brutally honest here, and many people aren't going to like this, but the concern I've got is that we are going to feed this exciting version of Natty to Maxxine. to give Maxxine credibility. We are going to try and do whatever we can to make Maxxine appear credible, to make her seem like a legitimate threat, and that we're just going to do whatever we can to achieve that. And if we have to feed her this version of Natty, then we will do that. I mean, if we do that, I will be horrified, because this is a version of Natalya, Natty, that I have been waiting to see in WWE. And I'm just really worried with the direction of travel here. I'm just really worried that we're going to feed this to Maxxine so that Maxxine gains some more credibility. So this whole thing has got me very worried, very concerned. There is a way forward that's quite exciting. I mean, I'd love to see this version of Natty just murk Maxxine Dupri and take that Intercontinental Championship and then go on to have a badass run. Like, that's what I'm looking for. I've got a feeling I'm going to be very disappointed. Then we've got Adam Pearce. He was talking to referee Eddie Orengo to do some snooping because he wants to get some info on who the mystery man is, right? We never got an answer on that this week, which was very disappointing. This was sick. What a moment this was, right? So tag team match. Bang, bang, into the Styles Clash. Crowd on their feet. And then AJ hitting that Styles Clash. So, oh my God, AJ Styles, Dragon Lee just pulled off the coldest finish of the year. So this was New Day against AJ Styles and Dragon Lee for the tag team titles. You lot said this was great 60. You really enjoyed it. And it was a win for AJ and Dragon Lee. So that was the finish. One of the coldest finishes of the year. These guys retaining their championships. Okay, here's Becky going off online. She said the New Day was robbed. It's terrible officiating, allowing Dragon Lee to attack Kofi long after the tag. When will it end? I'm really into this version of Becky. I think she is doing this so well. She's very entertaining. It's a shame that she wasn't around. But I don't know where that's leading. I feel like we might be doing something with Becky and Adam, Becky and Jessica Carr, you know, Becky and the officiating that she keeps kicking off on. So I don't know, man. I'm kind of interested as to where that's leading. Okay, backstage, we had Stephanie bumping into Liv Morgan. It feels like this is what Liv Morgan is going to set her sights on. And that would be reinforced with what would happen at the very end of this week's Raw. I am seated for that, right? Something else I'm seated for is Bron Breakker. Paul Heyman announces that CM Punk will defend his World Heavyweight Championship against Bron on January 5th. Now, I haven't got a clip of it. I wish I did have a clip of it. But Bron Breakker cut a very good promo, right? Very good, very intense. Not much in the way of, like, killer lines. There was one about, you know, to do with you're not even the most famous person in your family, talking about AJ Lee. I feel like that's pretty tired content, right? So we had Bron Breakker. He was cutting a very direct promo. Very, very impressive. And then he just kind of, his voice went a bit squeaky at the end. I'd love to have a clip of the squeaky voice moment, but no one was really talking about that apart from our community. But this was better. I mean, you could see shades of aura here. You could see more flickers of where we're trying to get Bron Breakker. I thought his entrance at Survivor Series was epic. I thought there was moments in this promo that felt pretty good. Is it the finished article? No. Right? He needs some more killer lines. So I would say it's not the finished article. The voice breaks we could definitely do without, but this was so much better than what we have seen from Bron Breakker on the main roster. This, I think, by a long way, was his best promo, right? Triple H said, sometimes anger is all the fuel you need. Bron Breakker, CM Punk, January 5th at the Barclays Center for the World Heavyweight Championship. Right, backstage, Jey Uso says the only person to blame is the man in the mirror. Not Michael Jackson, but Jey Uso. So, you know, it's interesting. He was like, maybe Roman's right. Maybe those belts do look better on him than they would on, like, even me. So he's got a lot of self-doubt. He's got a lot of issues that he's going through at the moment. I don't know where we end up with Jey here, but at least we're doing something. So, yeah, interesting. I was not down on the Jey stuff tonight, apart from the long intro, as always. Right, then we went to match number 3. This was Gunther against Solo. This was our other semi-final. Banger, mates. Bit of a slow start, but it really found its feet, and Talatonga kept interrupting. Look at the size difference. I couldn't get over that, to be honest. Gunther and Solo is the match you never knew that you needed. Lots of praise for this online. People really enjoying it. Loads of, like, big, heavy clotheslines. Solo with some big uranagis. Really enjoyable stuff. Gunther beats Solo. He will be facing LA Knight in the final of the Last Time Is Now tournament. There is the bracket. There is the final. LA Knight beating Jey earlier. Gunther getting past Solo. It feels like Gunther's winning this. We'll find out on Friday. But it feels like it's Gunther's to lose. LA Knight came out and had a few words with him afterwards, though, making it very clear that he was not going to be rolling over. So, interesting. Okay, AJ Styles and Dragon Lee said they want to fight the War Raiders next week, and it was signed off, which is pretty crazy. I'm not sure what the War Raiders did to deserve that, but I don't begrudge them the opportunity. So there we go. They will be taking on the War Raiders next week. We would get a glimpse of Becky, but it was a pre-recorded WrestleMania advert. This was focused on Becky, and I'm sure we will focus on the other women as we continue moving forwards into 2026. But this one was just focused on Becky. Adam Pearce would catch up with his ref, and Adam Pearce still trying to find out who the masked man is. There was a mention of Seth Rollins, but of course, we don't believe it to be Seth Rollins. It was just mentioned that rumor was that Seth is now out of his sling. They're just trying to make you think it's Seth. And the curb stomp, they're trying to make you think it's Seth. But I think we all know the direction that's going in. The New Day freaked out, mate. They freaked out. They were really kicking off during the commercial break. So New Day and Grayson Waller are angry that the War Raiders have been handed a title shot. They were angry at the officiating as well. Just really kicking off in general. That was during commercial break. It was pretty good, actually. Pretty fiery stuff from all three of them. Backstage, we had Logan bumping into Rey. They were talking about the Intercontinental Championship. Logan said that it should come to the Vision, and which he seems to be hanging around still. I thought he was going to be done with the Vision after Survivor Series. Seems like he's sticking around with them. Rey Mysterio says that he'd be interested in another run with the Intercontinental Championship. All of this led to Rey slapping the taste out of Logan's mouth, and it seems like these two are on a collision course. And then, of course, we get our main event. And so there was the Iyo one from earlier. They changed it to a Rhea one later, which is so good. So good. I was really impressed with that. I thought that was really, really fun. So, yes, then we started our main event. Little bit of a botch here. You can see this moment where you've got Rhea trying to pick up Charlotte. She loses her footing, stumbles back, goes down, tries to get up, ends up like Jess goes down thinking it's a pin, and it's all just a bit sloppy. The match itself was quite good, though, to be honest. I mean, no shade on the match itself. I thought the match was quite good. Just a little bit of a moment of sloppiness. You lot seemed to be really into it. And then the Kabuki Warriors came down. They came down. The match is thrown out, which is really annoying. Then, of course, we end up getting Bayley and Lyra. They come racing down. Then we get the Judgment Day girls. And there was a really interesting moment here where Roxanne had one of the tag belts. Raquel had a tag belt. Roxanne actually gave it to Liv. Liv ended up giving it back to Roxanne and holding their arms up. It feels like we have figured out how we are going to use these three girls in the Judgment Day. It looks like those two are going to go after the tag belts, and it feels like Liv is going after Stephanie. I think Liv wants to be the women's world champion, and she's happy for those two to be the women's tag champs. Amazingly, that's how the show ended. You know, this is a show that Triple H said was going to be epic, and I don't think it quite lived up to that billing, right? I don't think there's much here you could say that was epic, but I do think it was still a very entertaining watch. I'd probably be giving this like a 6, 7, 5 type range. I don't know if it did enough to get to 7. I got to say, match of the night, Gunther solo, great 77. Second best match, according to you guys, was New Day against AJ and Dragon Lee. Then we had LA Knight against Jey Uso. Main event coming out in the good range. I think the ending kind of ruined it for you guys. But plenty of talking points, plenty of storyline progression, plenty of stuff there, little seeds that we can water and see grow over the coming weeks. And honestly, not bad at all. Jeremiah said, could the masked person be Jericho? It could be Jericho in the sense of they're not going to reveal it until we get to January. So it wasn't Jericho at Survivor Series, right? We know what the dirt sheets are saying there, right? We know who it was. It's a WWE superstar. I don't want to say the name because there might be some that still don't know, right? And they don't want it spoiled. But it is a WWE superstar that was under the hood at Survivor Series. Because that person has not been revealed, you can string that along until we get to January. And then when we do the reveal, you can just reveal it to be Jericho, right? The person that was the person at Survivor Series does not necessarily need to be the person that gets revealed, of course. So could it be Jericho? The only thing I can tell you is it wasn't. It wasn't Jericho. I know that much. Could it turn out to be Jericho? Yes. If we keep this going into 2026 when Jericho is rumored to be free and available. So I don't think we go that way. I think it's probably more likely Jericho, if he is coming back to WWE, comes back in the Rumble. I think that's probably more likely. I don't see him joining up with the Vision and stuff like that. I think Jericho goes off and does his own thing and just comes back in the Rumble. So I'm not expecting Jericho. I'm expecting it to be the person that we all know that it was. I'm expecting that. When we get to that, not sure. Not sure. There was no sign of us getting to that this week. I don't think we do it on Friday. Next week, I don't know. I mean, next week, I think we're probably going to be putting the final touches to John's final match. I mean, obviously, we're getting close to that. I think the reveal will be after John's Saturday night's main event show. So, yeah, I don't know when we're going to do this reveal. I don't feel like it's in the next week or so. So maybe we do take it to 2026 and let's see. So there we go. That was Raw. Appreciate people joining us. I hope you got some from it like I did. Thank you for joining this breakdown, and hopefully I see you again next time. Bye for now.